Naranam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudiraye nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So I'd like to welcome each one of you. Some of you are coming for the first time. I've not seen you before. So this is a series that we are starting for preparing our consciousness for the Gita Jayanti Mahotsav, which is going to be on 1st of December. That is the day when, that's the day of Mokshada Ekadashi, or that is the day when Lord Shri Krishna spoke Bhagavad-gītā to Arjuna. So we are discussing some topics from Bhagavad-gītā. And the title that we have for today is, what is the title? Why the Gita is relevant today, isn't it? So, do you think why is it relevant? Anybody wants to go for it? Good. Yeah, I think very valid points. But I will take the discussion in one particular way. Today we are talking about why this Bhagavad-gītā is relevant. There is one verse which is composed by Sankaracharya, one of the eminent scholars coming from India, who speaks about this verse of glorification of Bhagavad-gītā, where he says, Mala nirmochanam pumsam jalasnanam dine dine. Sakrit Gitamritam Snanam Samsara Malanasanam. Mala Nirmochanam Pumsam. Pumsam refers to human beings, all of us. Mala Nirmochanam Pumsam. So, when our body gets dirty, when our body has some contaminations in the form of sweat or so many other things, then we have to take bath. Mala Nirmochanam Pumsam Jalasnanam Dine Dine. And we have to bathe every day. And we have to take bath every day. If we don't take that, then the body will remain in a contaminated state. Mala nirmochanam pumsam jalasnanam dine dine sakrit gitamritam snanam samsara malanasanam. Whereas if you want to get rid of the samsara mala, the dirty, impurity, contaminated things, which comes because of the samsara, because of the cycle of birth and death, because of this acceptance of the body in this material world, because of our material existence, that mala, that contamination, that impurity which comes in our heart, that can get completely cleansed by just taking one's bath in the wisdom of Bhagavad-gītā. Samsara malanasanam. So, Sakrit Gita Amritam Snanam Samsara Malanasanam. Of course, it's very easy to say that, your mala will get cleansed, samsara malanasanam, isn't it, by Bhagavad-gītā. And we may also intellectually appreciate, yes, samsara mala will get cleansed. What exactly is that samsara mala? What is it that Bhagavad-gītā can do, and how Bhagavad-gītā's knowledge is so powerful? Actually, the beauty of Bhagavad-gītā is the more you study, the more you go through it, the more you feel it is so important for people to know. It is so much enlightening, and people live in so much of ignorance and darkness. And because of so much of ignorance, people are confused about their duties. And they suffer, they go through miseries, they have indecisions, there is a conflict which happens between duty and desire. And there are so many such things which goes on in our lives, and we don't find some solution to that. And Bhagavad-gītā addresses these problems and gives solution which can eradicate these problems from the root. Completely it can eradicate. And as you were mentioning, yes, it's not just relevant in 5,000 years back, it's equally relevant here today, also now, and very much. And that's what we will try to attempt and see. A little bit of backstory can help understand the context of Bhagavad-gītā. As all of you probably know, that when Arjuna was facing this most important battle of his life, which he has been waiting for, and the consuls have been blown, the armies are facing each other, and the battle was about to start. It's all imminent. And what do you expect? I mean, the Kshatriyas follow a very strict code of conduct. They don't start just like that, and they have assembled there, which has been a long-awaited battle, started from the injustice which has been thrust upon the Pandavas, denied of their rightful position of the kingdom, and so many other atrocities which have been performed on them, deceit, and so on and so forth. And this is the time to avenge. And they have assembled, and they have blown their respective consul. Suddenly, Arjuna says, Senayor ubhayor madhye ratham sthapayame achyuta. Senayor ubhayor madhye. Oh Krishna, oh Arjuna, Achyuta, oh infallible one, can you take my chariot in the midst of two armies? I just want to see one final time who has come here to fight. And the chariot was placed in the middle of both the armies. And Arjuna sees on the other side, it's all his very intimate relatives. His grandfather, very affectionate to him. His brothers, they're all cousins. They've all assembled. They're all wearing those proper armors. They're decorated with weapons, fighting spirit, a war cry, and they're just about to pounce. And seeing this, Arjuna got completely overwhelmed. So overwhelming, right? Sometimes in life, what we need to do, and what is the right thing to do, and we feel anxious in life. Is there anybody sitting here who has never felt anxiety? Is there anybody sitting here who has never felt fear in life? What are your fears mostly? What kind of fears do you experience? Worries about the future. Just worries about the future. Work loss or loss of, may not have job. Yeah. So what is your fear? I'm asking fear. I'm not asking about pursuit of happiness. What is your fear inside? That you won't be happy. Yeah, so basically, the material world, the Vedic scriptures put it very nicely, that you see, this Bhagavad-gītā itself is a condensed knowledge, right? 700 slokas, 18 chapters, spoken in 1 hour. And it is very mysterious. It's not easy. Many people hear Bhagavad-gītā, but it doesn't transform because the listening is not proper. Arjuna heard, but Arjuna got transformed. Arjuna was facing some problem. Krishna didn't take away the problem. He changed his perception. He changed his view of life. Often in our life, we think we know everything. We have a better understanding than most people. I can figure it out myself. When actually it comes to facing the real challenges of life, we struggle. So the fears that all of you are mentioning, fear of worries, fear of future, fear of this thing, the Vedic scriptures put it in any stage of our life. There are three kinds of fears that we experience when we are trying to acquire something. Could be a person with whom we want to have a relationship. Could be someone who's a coveted, like it could be a coveted position, or it could be an object of our desire, which I want to achieve, I want to attain, but there is a fear, what if I don't get it? What if I'm trying and I don't get it? And by somehow or other, by our hard work, by our dint of good fortune, if at all we get that, there is always a fear of losing it. What if I lose it? What if this object that I'm possessing gets dented, gets damaged, the person snubs me, something or other, there's a fear. And then actually when that happens, when the person is no more there, or the position is taken away, the object is gone, then there is regret and lamentation. There is fear in every sphere of our life, actually. Very nicely, if you have to summarize this, what is the root cause of all the fears, then it all boils down to finally the fear of losing our own identity, fear of death, fear of the fear of losing our near and dear ones. So very nicely, in one of the Vaishnava songs, our Acharya, Śrīla Prabhupāda, he points out to this I'm just trying to show it. He gives this analogy from a Vaishnava poet, and this analogy is Kamala Dala Jala Jivana Talamala. Kamala Dala Jala Jivana Talamala. I don't know how many of you have seen a water drop on the leaf of a lotus. The water drop on the lotus leaf, if there is a little disturbance, the disturbance could be because of wind, because of some flow of water, it totters, it moves, it goes and it becomes a little elongated and goes and slips off. Our lives are like that. We want to live here permanently, we want to live here eternally. The fact is, Kamala Dala Jala Jivana Talamala. Very confidently, very arrogantly, carelessly, callously, we live life. Yes, I can take care of all my problems myself. But Kamala Dala Jala Jivana Talamala. The song which Prabhupada has sung on this particular verse, in this particular Vaishnava song, very, very touching, especially when he repeats on these lines. It's very hard-hitting, which doesn't strike us. It doesn't strike us that I can be the next person who is going to die. I'm living in a deathful world, in a Martya Loka, but I always feel I'll be eternal. Because the constitutional position of the spirit soul is eternal. And we feel that I'll be eternal in this material world, in this material body, but that is the biggest lie. Often people say, "Arey, you people talk about death so much, I don't care about death. I am not scared of death. I know we'll die." It's actually those people also, when they speak like that, they try to hide the fear inside. They try to hide the real truth, expressing them. I remember I've seen one very interesting video on YouTube. It's a South American YouTube video where they do this social experiment. There is an elevator, and in that elevator there will be some people who will be going, And there'll be one person who will come and he'll stop the elevator. And he'll try to, just give me 1 minute, some 2 people are coming. Then he'll do that and he'll try to stop the elevator. And there'll be 2 people who will be coming with a coffin. So they'll bring the coffin and they'll keep it inside. Struggling coffin, and they'll keep it one corner, they'll make the coffin stand. The moment the coffin is inside, there are all cameras, hidden cameras there. All those people, oh, ha, he, ha, everything, they will be very happy, merrily in doing all these things. Immediately they'll be scared. They'll be having some kind of facial expressions change. What's going on? There's a coffin here? And then all of a sudden, what happens? These 2 people who will bring that coffin, they'll leave it over there and they'll run away. The third person also, just 1 minute, I'm also coming, and he'll go away and the doors get closed. And then these people won't even looking at that side, that coffin which is there, right? And these coffins are so designed, there'll be some coffins, we're not so familiar, but I was just seeing that video. The coffin will have 2 parts, and portion of it is openable. So what will happen, the front portion, this thing will open up, and a person who is, the nose, the nostrils which are inserted with some cotton, and the teeth is out, or it's tied or something, he'll pop out like this. That's it. Actually, it's all drama. Nothing is happening. But screeching, all kinds of things. Death, right? We live in the world of death, impermanence. And we don't know what to do with this. And when it comes, that idea of permanence, safety, security, home is taken away, is gone. That's the biggest fear. Fear of loss of our near and dear ones. How do we deal with that? Bhagavad-gītā's knowledge is very, very striking. How it becomes so relevant, because it tells us that we live life in ignorance. As much ignorance as you have in life, that much of pain you will experience. What is the ignorance? The ignorance is we live life in a material concept. Nobody wants to say that. It's a window, it's a materialistic life that we live, and through that we see, and this materialistic life, the window of materialistic life is primarily based on this fact that I am this body. I am this body, and everything related to my body, along with them, I should live happily forever. That is the ignorance. And that ignorance creates pain, causes problems. The knowledge of Bhagavad-gītā is not meant to be memorized. These are not set of rules. These are not set of something which is given in some time. We just have to memorize and then we'll prove our intellectual this thing. It is meant for something or other. It is meant to free us. It is meant to give us that eternal happiness that we are looking for. Because of the ignorance deep within as to who we are. I want to be happy, but I have no understanding of who I am. How will I get happy? And that is where in the root, Krishna addresses this. Very nicely, these things. I'll share. I don't want to make you overwhelmed with the verses, but you see this. The knowledge of Bhagavad-gītā, when somebody is equipped with, one who is not disturbed in mind, even amidst the threefold miseries, or elated when there is happiness, and who's free from attachment, fear, and anger, is called a sage of steady mind. Who's not disturbed in mind even amidst threefold miseries. What are the threefold miseries? Threefold miseries is Adi Daivik. There's a natural calamity. You come, you're driving and you're coming and you come and suddenly you see that your house is on flames. The smoke is going to the sky. The fire brigade is there. They're trying to, extinguish the fire and you're coming. What will be going on inside you? Oh my God. Oof. All my life's hard work, this thing I put in that and this is gone. Right? So much of pain. Some flood comes, some tornado, some cyclone. Everything is devastated, gone. Adi Daivik miseries. Adi Bhautik is miseries because of other living entities. Could be our husband, could be our wife, with whom we thought we will have a nice time. they can give us pain. Could be some living entities like mosquitoes. I want to sleep peacefully. Mosquitoes come and bite without taking our permission. Adi Bhautik. And Adi Adhyatmik. Adhyatmik means because of I fell down, I hurt my hand, I have a plaster, my mind is troubling, disturbing, problems arising because of my own body mind. So one who's not disturbed in mind, even amidst the threefold miseries, or elated when there is happiness, and who's free from attachment, fear and anger, is called a sage of steady mind. There is a state, that knowledge when we have, we can come to this state where we are unaffected, not disturbed in mind. That knowledge is the knowledge of Bhagavad-gītā which the Lord imparts. That's the conversation. Whole purpose of knowing Bhagavad-gītā is not to know what verse is this one, where is this. It is actually what is the intent of the speaker, what he wants to share. What is that intent? That is what Prabhupada mentions so, he emphasizes so much on that. What is it that Krishna wants to tell? And that message doesn't go in our ears properly because we're not ready. We're not prepared inside us. We're not we first of all don't understand that we're living in a problematic situation. We think we know everything. Yeah, no problem. And it's a cycle of birth and death. Cycle doesn't have a beginning or an end. Like a circle, which is the beginning, which is the starting point, which is the end point. You finish this life, again you enter into the womb of a mother. Again you go through this Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi, Janma Mrityu Jara. And we are thinking ourselves to be body, and we are experiencing this kind of a situation day in and day out, but we don't realize this. Actually, in one way, pain is good. When you experience the pain, when you experience the loss of your near and dear ones, it is good because it becomes an impetus to ask questions. We don't even ask questions. Imagine you keep your hand on some hot vessel or something. And if you don't experience any pain, if your hand is not getting burnt or something, you're not experiencing any of this thing, I mean, the hand is getting burnt, your skin is coming out, but you're not experiencing any pain. Then it's a bigger this thing. Actually, that pain makes us take our hand away from that thing. Like that, the pain when we experience that becomes an impetus for knowing why this loss. How do I do? The fear of unknown. What happens after death? There is nobody who's going to come and tell us that this is what it is happening. All these fears are there, and we live in this fearful world thinking that because of the material concept of life, which is called, I am this body. That is the root cause of the problem. Very nicely, towards the end, Krishna says that, O son of Pratha, that understanding by which one knows what ought to be done, what ought not to be done, what is to be feared and what is not to be feared, what is binding and what is liberating, is in the mode of goodness. Generally, people in the mode of ignorance, they are lazy, they want to sleep, they want to intoxicate. That's how their life is. Their goal is that. They have no understanding or interest in learning about scriptures or understanding. There is no impetus. That doesn't come because they're predominantly in the mode of ignorance. Little above them is people who are in the mode of passion. I want to achieve, I want to do, I want to succeed, I want to go for it, I want to achieve this. City life is all about passion. That's why when some people go far from the city, they step back and go to some natural place or place of natural beauty, a countryside or something, they feel some peace. Because that's somehow it is bringing them to the mode of goodness. Knowledge in the mode of goodness is when one understands what ought to be done, what ought not to be done, what is to be feared and what is not to be feared. What is to be feared, what is not to be feared. What is binding and what is liberating is in the mode of goodness. Actually, the way we look at things, the way we perceive, the way we look at things, the way we see, the way we hear, is all contaminated because our consciousness itself is contaminated. So it's like you are seeing through a lens, and that lens itself is contaminated. So the way you look at things, if it is blue-colored lens, you'll see in a particular way. If it is a red-colored lens, you'll see in a particular way. If it's a yellow-colored sense, so the way we perceive knowledge, the way we acquire things from this material world are all defective. And the only knowledge that we have is about matter. And that also in a defective vision. So the knowledge of Bhagavad-gītā, if we want to acquire, first we need to know what are the inherent defects that we have in acquiring knowledge. And very nicely, Bhagavad-gītā or the Vedic scriptures say there are, all of us, we've got 4 inherent defects. First is called Brahma. Brahma means? Brahma means we actually commit mistakes. We do mistakes because our senses are imperfect. Is there anybody who has said, oh, I've never done any mistake in my life, I'm somehow very exceptional? All of us, we commit mistake, Brahma. Then the second one that we have the problem is called Pramada. Pramada means illusion. Right? We are subject to illusion. We see that even the magicians, they're called illusionists. Isn't it? They create some kind of illusion where it appears all real. When they're cutting somebody, when they are throwing someone, it all appears real. So there is Brahma, there is illusion, then there is, Brahma, there is Pramada, then there is Vipralipsa. Vipralipsa means there is a cheating tendency. I want to cheat others. I want to become successful, I want to prove to the world that I'm more knowledgeable, I'm more capable by cheating others. So there is Brahma, there is Pramada, there is Vipralipsa, and the last one is Karnapatava. Our senses are imperfect. You become old a little bit, you don't need to even become old, you can't even see what it is. You can see some far up things, you can't see close things, somebody can see close things, all kinds of, our senses have got limitations. So with this 4 defective vision, with this 4 inherent defects that everybody has, when we try to acquire knowledge, it is but natural that it is going to be defective. So what is the other way then? The other way is, the Vedic scriptures are telling that if you want to really acquire knowledge, there are 2 other ways. One is called Arohana Pantha and one is called Avarohana Pantha, or ascending method and the descending method. Ascending method means, like there's one devotee who was saying that, they just went to climb some peaks in Himalayas, not Everest, something else, maybe K2 or I don't know what else, Kanchenjunga or something. It's not easy. They're trying to climb the peaks. You have to solely and wholly depend on your own abilities and your skills. You will try to figure it out. I'll take up to this path, I'll try to understand what it is, I'll try to understand this path, I'll try to understand that path, and I'll try to see what is the right thing. The inherent limitations are still there and you're trying to find it out, and the whole life itself is insufficient. If you're lucky, you can find, but otherwise it is not. And the second most important method is the method of descending path, Avarohana Pantha. Taking information from a bona fide Vedic source. This is the clue. When people come and they go to some people to hear, they don't question which lineage you are coming. And these are some things which Bhagavad-gītā stresses very, very much. You need to find a bona fide guru who's coming in a parampara. The word that is used is Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo viduhu. Sakalenaha mahata yoga nashta parantapa. The supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession. And the saintly kings understood it in that way. It has to be received somebody has to pass it down. Prabhupada's commentary of Bhagavad-gītā is known as Bhagavad-gītā as it is. Why he said that there are many commentaries which were available, but most of them are contaminated with their own interpretation. You have to hear it as the Lord has spoken, in the pristine, purest form. And that happens if you come in a parampara. And that parampara knowledge can destroy the ignorance. And ignorance is removed, that means pain is removed, then you can experience Yam labdhva chaparam labham manyate nadhikam tatam. You will experience a happiness which you have never experienced in your life. You can experience the true fearlessness which you have always desired, and for which you have made so much of plans. But for that you need to have this knowledge, this Bhagavad-gītā. When you get it from the proper source, it can eradicate all these problems. As I was mentioning that, how people see through their lenses, through their different consciousness, which is impacted by these 3 modes of material nature, And how it can look so different. In Bhagavad-gītā, in 2nd chapter, Krishna says, what is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-controlled. And the time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective says. Same phenomenon, same situation. One is thinking it as night, the other one is thinking it as, it is awakening, right? Time for awakening because of the contaminated consciousness. And that contamination gets removed when we receive the knowledge from the parampara. As Arjuna, he became the disciple of Krishna, where he realized that there is some inherent defects which is blurring his vision. He is not able to see. There is no clarity. He has the skills. He was the prince. He was the warrior. He had all the qualifications. It was not like he forgot the art of archery or anything of that sort. There was no such crisis. There was lack of clarity. He was not sure what to do. That's why he puts it so beautifully. Karpanya doshopahata svabhava prachami tvam dharma sammuda cheta. Yet shreyasyan nischitam bruhitan me sisyasteham sadhimam tvam prapannam. Now I'm confused. I'm confused about my duty. We need to find someone, a self-realized soul who has seen the truth, who is coming in the parampara. Acknowledgement, a humility that I'm lost. Acknowledgement of her state of forgetfulness and precariousness that we are here. It's so fragile. Jivana jala dala, jivana dala jala, kamala dala jala, jivana talamala. It's a tottering in this thing, in the tottering platform, we're even oblivious of our situations. Now I'm confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. Because of miserly weakness, I'm confused about my duty. In this condition, I'm asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Tell me what is best. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. This is the mood. And if that Bhagavad-gītā's knowledge has to penetrate our layers of false ego, layers of conditioning, layers of ignorance, there are some qualifications which are required. First and foremost is Shraddha. I have to have faith. This is not some book reading club. Anybody interested can come. Anybody doesn't want to, that's okay. I don't have faith, but what to do? They've asked me to come. You see, so many people are not here. So many people who may not, because they feel there are other things which are more important to them. I have to have Shraddha. I have to have an eagerness to know. Very nicely, there are some of the qualifications which the Lord puts it in Bhagavad-gītā. One of the things which he says, why Arjuna could hear it and why Arjuna could get transformed, whereas others, even though they heard, they were present, nothing happened to them. Krishna was personally present as the Supreme Lord. They could have gotten this knowledge and they could have benefited from that. Only Arjuna got transformed. Why? Because here certain things which the Lord is highlighting are very important if we want to receive this knowledge. That very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you because you are my devotee as well as my friend. That mood of knowing, as he's saying, because you're my devotee. You are very close to me, Arjuna. I'm going to share this knowledge because you have got this qualification. Half of the people think, what is this Bhagavad-gītā? You people are you have got your own ideas, ritualistic things. Other people are trying to understand. They have got more interest than our own people who are from India. We know Bhagavad-gītā. Bhagavan ne bola tha Kurukshetra mein. Dharm kaam karo, phal prapti ki asa mat karo. Only one thing they talk about. Because you are my devotee as well as my friend. I need to have that eagerness, that desperation, and I need to have certain qualification to understand. I can't figure it out. I'm not able to. I'm confused about my own life. And so that's why he's telling, because you are my devotee as well as my friend, and can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of the science. Again, he says, towards the end, because you are my very dear friend, Istoshi, I am speaking to you, the most confidential part of knowledge. Hear this from me, for it is for your benefit. Because you are my very dear friend, Istasi. Or in another place he's saying that very ancient science of the relationship with the Supreme is today told by me to you, because you are my devotee as well as my friend, and this I spoke. The other one is because you are non-envious of me, anasuya way. I had a lot of difficulties in this when I heard that we are envious of the Lord. A lot of difficulties. But it's a truth. We are all envious of the Lord. The Lord is eagerly waiting to share this knowledge. He is available. The jnana is there in the form of Bhagavad-gītā. It is available. But it won't penetrate the layers of ignorance if we are not ready, if we are not willing to accept the way Arjuna accepted. So we thought of coming up with this idea of having this discussion. Everybody knows what is to be done, what is the message of Bhagavad-gītā. Maybe you would have heard somewhere or others. But the Bhagavad-gītā is so powerful and so penetrating and so enlightening. Even though it was spoken 5,000 years back and the situation has changed now significantly, the internal problems are still the same. What Arjuna faced, it is not any different. The Arjuna's journey from confusion to clarity can be obtained by all of us in each one of our lives, provided we follow this knowledge, provided we are ready to accept and mold our lives as per that. We can experience eternal happiness, we can experience fearlessness. So before we conclude, I wanted to just touch upon the 5 subject matters which Bhagavad-gītā talks about. And in that, the fundamental thing is the ignorance of the self. Right? The 5 subject matters which it talks about is Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala and Karma. Right? In our material science, in our endeavor to acquire knowledge for 15-20 years, what we do is we acquire knowledge and we see how we can make a livelihood out of that, how we can earn a living. But we don't know what to do with that money, how to use that, how to live a life that nobody talks about. And it is only about Prakriti, how to exploit the Prakriti for our own advantage. That's what we learn. But there are other things. Ishvara, who's the controller of this whole creation. Ishvara, the word itself, means who's the supreme controller. We have no knowledge. Jiva. Jiva means the living entities, the spirit soul. What exactly the word soul means. Somebody you ask, what is the meaning of the soul? He'll give you another meaning, spirit. You ask, what is spirit? He'll say soul. Giving a synonym is not exactly understanding what it is. It is actually how we can go deeper into this Bhagavad-gītā's verses, the words, and get the inner meaning which can transform us. What exactly is that spirit? Sometimes we say, oh, he has got a very nice fighting spirit. He's a very spirited person. So what exactly is spirit? That is what we're going to talk about in the next class. The way Prabhupada puts it is, we always, our eyes can see everything else outside, this material world except for the eyes themselves. Like that, we are very keen and expert in seeing the problems in everybody else. Little do we know what are the problems that we have. There's a nice story that Prabhupada says, and with that we will close. And this is just an attempt to, give you an overview and an understanding of Bhagavad-gītā, which is so powerful, so nice. The knowledge and the promise of Bhagavad-gītā is not a lie. It's not something falsity. And if you have the real understanding of Bhagavad-gītā, you can lead life in a much better way because your consciousness is elevated to the spiritual platform. And from the spiritual platform, when we look at the world, the way you deal, the way you control things, the way things don't go in your way, how you react will be much different. There's a story which Prabhupada says. There is one person who goes to a ENT specialist. You know ENT? Ear, nose and throat. So he goes and he says that my wife has some hearing problem. So I have come for some solution. He said, if your wife has problem, why you have come? You should have brought your wife, no? He said, no, wife doesn't want to come. So he said, okay, then before I give you some solution, before I give you some medicine, we need to diagnose as to what is the intensity of the problem. How do we do that? He said, go do some test. So he goes back to his home and from 50 feet distance, he's asking, what are you cooking? The wife was in kitchen. Didn't get anything response, no response. Wife is not able to hear, 50 feet is probably too far. Goes closer, 40 feet. Aji sunte ho? What are you cooking? Kya bana rahe ho? No response from wife. So then goes right next to her. maybe goes 35th, okay, you can do whatever it is. Fourth, fifth iteration, he goes to his wife and just stands next to the wife and says, "Kya bana rahe ho?" I said, "Are you deaf or what? I've been telling you 5 times I'm cooking this. Can't you hear?" Right? So he's thinking the problem is with the wife. So like that, we think the whole world has problem without seeing that the problem really lies inside us. Bhagavad-gītā's knowledge is very enlightening, and it is a wonderful opportunity that we have in this rare human form of life to invest, to know. But the biggest obstacle to that is, I know it, I don't need it. I don't care about my position, I'm oblivious to what is going on in my life. Yeah, I'll die one day, what is the big deal? We people die, no. But when it happens to our near and dear ones, when it really happens, we're completely bewildered. But this knowledge of Bhagavad-gītā can enlighten us, can make us realize who we truly are, and how we can live eternally in a happy position, even in this material world, in the material body. So we will stop here and continue to see. Anybody has any question, any last comment? 1 or 2? Okay, I wanted to say this last 2 lines, if you don't have. Prabhupada says in 2.40 that in this endeavor there is no loss or diminution. A little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. You see how much, what treasure is there. The jewel which is there deep within the verses of Bhagavad-gītā is untouched by us. There is no loss or diminution. And Prabhupada's final this thing is, one who takes shelter of the Supreme Lord has nothing to fear, even in the midst of the greatest calamity. Nothing to fear. What else we need in life? Śrīla Prabhupāda ki